question of gender and issues around that, there I think, like in so many other things, personally in a congregation, we follow society. So when we say there are now more women in the church who are leading and who are pastors and so on, I suspect that wasn't so much based on a sound review of theology or biblical understanding. I think it happened because that's the trend that happened in society. And the church had to look at it. So some churches got onto it quicker than others. But by and large, it's a non-threat, I think, in most congregations now, women being involved in leadership, pastoral work, and training, and so on, and education. In terms of the sexuality, and if one looks at, again, all of these blended families we have in our congregations and our churches, again, I think we've been led partially by the Bible, but in many cases by society, that what can you do with these families? You can't ditch them. It used to be that's how the church answered these problems. They're not pure. They don't belong to the church. They've defaulted somehow. They're not welcome. But we've welcomed them now in the last 20 or more years. And what does one do with them? Society has welcomed them more and more, and they've had a big push on human rights and so on. So I think the church has picked up some of that too. In terms of homosexuality, I suspect the same thing is happening. That eventually the public leads and the governments, and everybody fights, including governments and the public, and eventually we have shifts coming. And so we learn within these shifts, what does it mean to be the church? So I think we take cues both culturally and biblically, and not always sure which one comes first. They probably come together. They're not done in a vacuum. So I think for congregations, in terms of gender issues and sexuality, that again, to stop fighting, in terms of going back. But what is it? How do we accommodate? How have we accommodated all these issues in past years? Whether it's been divorce, common law living, theft, stealing, drug. It's not that we say it's all right. It's a question of how does one work and relate with that in terms of family and church structures. And knowing the agenda is going to be there and it's not going to go away. And we have to pick up cues from the public as well as from the Bible.